Mm-hmm. And we are live. So be careful what you say.
We're a little late.
Yeah, we are a little bit late. I'm looking at the wrong clock. It's 2 o'clock right now by the clock I'm looking at, and it looks like 6 minutes after. I wonder who set that clock. That doesn't look good at all. That's looking better. Maybe push it
Okay.
up a little bit. That looks good. Okay. And here we go. Hit that thing. No? Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 114 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets. We'll get right into a quick tip right now.
All right. My quick tip this week comes straight from our newsletter. So, how to view a blog on a phone. And if you want to read the article in the newsletter, it's geeksontour.com. You just click on the blogs and news menu and newsletters. All of our newsletters are there. This one is from the most recent one, April. And what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you on a phone.
Okay, let me get that for you.
And if you look at a website using a phone, you're probably seeing a different website than you do when you're on your computer. So I go to Chrome here, and here is our blog. And you'll notice that it does not have a sidebar.
Push it up a little.
That's okay. That. All right.
No, that looks better.
Okay. So if you want to see the sidebar, the full web experience, most websites at the very bottom will have something called View Web Version, but not all do. So on Chrome, you could know that it's the three-dot menu and Request Desktop Site. Three-dot menu and Request Desktop Site. Okay. Because I think it was because I was playing with this earlier. So now you are seeing the complete website experience, including the sidebar, and you can use the blog archive. And in some others, it might even be more pronounced. Let's say Walmart, for example. And on the Walmart one is an example of one that I could not find a link at the bottom to say, show me the web version. But if I tap on the three-dot menu, okay. How about let's go to, so let me show you on Safari. Same idea. We have a website here, and we are seeing the mobile version. On Safari, if you touch and hold on the little refresh symbol, then you get a option down at the bottom that says Web Request Desktop Site. And now we're seeing the full menu rather than the little drop-down menu that the mobile version shows you. So where there's a will, there's a way. If what you're seeing on the phone isn't the full thing, then you can either use your browser's command or find an option at the bottom that will show you the full site. And that's my quick tip.
Very nice.
And there it is straight from the newsletter. This is the information that's on the newsletter.
Very cool. Well, we are an educational show about smartphones and tablets with us, Geeks on Tour.
Always learning.
Always learning.
Always learning.
Hi, I'm Jim, together here with my wife, Chris. We're Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone or your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach. We learn, and then we try to turn around and teach. We think the best way to learn is on a regular basis and with bite-sized pieces. So we come up with a lesson for each week, and this is our weekly class.
Right? So today's show, let's see, is all about accounts. Our beginner's lesson, it'll be about forgot password. Our NPR1 is your app of the week. And if you have questions during the live show on Sunday, use the YouTube chat window. And by Wednesday afternoon, this episode should be posted at thebuttonshow.com, and you can leave your comments there. Those of you that are watching live, we'd appreciate some questions if you can find any to think of. All right.
Yeah, whether we do a live show or not, we post on Wednesday. So you can depend on having a weekly class at thebuttonshow.com.
Excellent. So where are we now, Chris?
We just got to Oceanside, California last night from Arizona. We spent the week at another rally, the Fleetwood Motorhome Association rally.
Right. And we did 4 seminars for those guys. They were well received. We got a few new members, and welcome. It was nice of you to sign up. And
after a seminar Tuesday at Laguna Woods, we're going to start heading east. We can't go any further west from here.
Not very far.
So we got to turn around.
We're right in the ocean almost.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
And if you want to see something about last week, Jim took a couple of drone videos that are pretty cool, and they are on our YouTube channel?
They're on our YouTube channel. Absolutely.
Okay. And Facebook with a link.
And we do invite you to become a member at geeksontour.com. Just go to the website and click on Become a Member. What do you got there? Okay. Weekly class. I don't see any questions yet, but I'll take a quick look. All right. We have a few people on. Hi, Judy. Hi, Olive. Olive cousin.
Bill.
Hi, Bill. Bill. Bill and Karen. It always fools me. Warren Wilson is there, and we hope to see you on Tuesday up in
Laguna Woods.
Laguna Woods, right. Jolyn, good to see you.
Yeah.
Sherry, Judy, and Bob. Wow. So go ahead and ask some questions, and we'll try and get to them during the show. Ready for this beginner's lesson?
I am.
Okay.
Forgot password. Oh, what a pain that can be. And we've been dealing with several people, including ourselves.
Yeah, I somehow messed up my password on my Windows computer. On the seminar computer, when I tried to sign in, it didn't work. So I had to scramble around and reset my password. It was, well, it wasn't too hard. It wasn't too bad. But we'll go through some of the steps here today and show you how that's done on a smartphone.
Yeah, this show is about smartphones and tablets. So we're talking about your main account for your smartphone. And what is that? First, I have just a few slides to give a background of what the account is that I'm talking about. Your phones are identified by your account. So every iPhone needs one Apple ID. Every Android phone needs one Google account. So that's what we're talking about. You can't use your App Store unless you have an account assigned to the phone. And with iPhone, it is an Apple ID, and this account information is found in the cloud. So appleid.apple.com is where you'll find all the information with your Apple ID, and myaccount.google.com is where you'll find all your Google account information. And so you can get to that from a computer, a phone, a tablet, anything. It's in the cloud. Accounts are identified by email addresses. I wish they weren't. I don't know. I think this is something that the companies came up with a long time ago. They said, hey, wouldn't it be a good idea for usernames to be the same as email addresses? In retrospect, I think not, but that is the way it is. So look at this list on the left. Your Apple ID could be a hotmail.com account. It could be an Outlook, an iCloud Me, gmail.com, or even a geeksontour.com. Your Google account could be any one of those same email addresses. So email address is your username. In my opinion, the Apple ID should be with a Apple service. So iCloud.com or me.com is an Apple service. And that's what I think an Apple ID should be using. And a Google should be a gmail.com. But it doesn't have to be. It can be any of these. The thing to know is that a username is an email address. All right. Accounts are also protected with passwords. So the way to get into an account is to have a username and password. Username and password. They come as a pair, and that is just how it works. So your phone or tablet can show you the username of your account. And I want everybody watching this to do this right now. Right now.
It's so important.
If you're watching this not live, I mean recorded, go ahead and even pause. And if you have an Apple device, go to Settings, iTunes, and App Store, and you will see a username. And on an Android, go to Settings, Account, and Google. And I will do that. So let's look at my devices. I will do my Apple first.
Okay.
So on my Apple iPhone, you go to Settings, and then it's under iTunes and App Store. Notice it's also under iCloud. And those can be two different accounts.
They should not be.
Too dark?
Yeah.
Those can be two different accounts, but it's not recommended. So so iCloud says chrisgould@me.com. iTunes and App Store says chrisgould@me.com. So that is the account, the Apple ID that is attached to this phone. And I need to know that in order to go to the App Store and get anything. Now let me show you on the Android. Okay, on the Android, it's also in Settings. And I get to Settings by dragging down from the top and tapping on the little cogwheel gear. And there is a setting called Accounts. Accounts. And Google. Notice you can have lots of accounts, but I'm just talking about the main account. And my Google account is chrisgould@gmail.com. That is what is associated with this phone. All right, so hopefully you all did that with your phones. But your phone can't show you the password. It can show you the username.
And that's half of the
That's
puzzle.
half of it. Yeah, you do need to know the username. So that is half of the puzzle. But you better have your password written down.
And you don't have a way to recover it. You're going to be in a world of hurt. And that's what this show's all about.
Yeah. So people say, oh, but I can't just write it down in a book somewhere. What if somebody else got my address book?
Well, I say write it down, but you don't have to write down the whole password. I use a mnemonic on my system, and I write it into a computer program, a notepad type program, and I just put a couple of characters in there that'll remind me what my password is. That way, if somebody were to get a hold of that file somehow, unlikely, but it could happen, and I've heard of people getting their notebooks stolen, and they have to change all of their usernames and passwords. That's still not a bad idea if your account is compromised, but if you just put down a few characters that'll remind you what your password is, then you're not putting your whole thing in there, and it's not as likely to be compromised.
So if your favorite vegetable is a carrot and your favorite color is blue and your favorite number is 32, your password might be blue carrot 32. But in your password notes, you would just say BC 3. You know that it stands for blue carrot 32, but in any case, even if you write the whole password down, I would rather you do that. I know one person who has had their little address book stolen, and that's a problem for them. I know dozens of people who have been locked out of their own account because they don't know their password.
Yep, and we saw several instances of it this week.
This week. This is why we came up with this show. So write down your password. Okay. When you forget your password, not if, when. You will forget your password. You will forget where you wrote it down. It can be just a minor annoyance.
Hopefully that's all it will be.
Well, if you follow our instructions today, it will just be a minor annoyance. But it could be a catastrophic loss of account because these companies are very concerned with security. So they will not tell you what your password is if you can't tell them other things. So review your account information and do it now while you know your password, hopefully. Or if you don't, you'll find out that you don't know it. The way you review your account information is to go to appleid.apple.com and sign in, or go to myaccount.google.com and sign in. That's for your Apple or your Google. Add a recovery email, add a recovery phone number, and add security questions. And this is what we're going to show you.
And you might want to do that even for your Microsoft account too. If you're
Why might that be?
Don't ask me how I know.
And for your Facebook account, for everything. But we're just talking about your Apple and your Google.
Your smartphone stuff.
Because it's necessary for your phone. All right. So I usually use my real primary devices for our demos just because I like to be real. But accounts are too important. So I'm going to use my secondary devices that have dummy accounts set up on them for this. I don't want to be messing around with my real account. So on my iPad, I'm going to demonstrate that you can't get an app if you've forgotten your Apple ID. I'm going to show you how to recover it. I'm going to show you how to set account settings. And I'm going to do the same 3 things on the Android. So I'm starting with the iPad. And first thing to know is, all right, how do I find out what account is being used for this iPad? You all should know that now. You tap on Settings, and I look in the settings under iCloud and then iTunes and App. And so this device is using an Apple ID called GotGuest1 at iCloud.com.
So that's the Geeks on Tour Guest 1.
Yeah. So, and this is just a dummy account. So now I am going to try to get an app from the App Store. And I go to the App Store. And I'm just going to grab any old app. And so, Stay Away Camp. Doesn't that sound like fun? And it's actually $2.99, so I will definitely be required to give my password, even if I've changed the settings for free ones. So I tell it, okay, I want to buy Stay Away Camp. And it's working on it. And it says, okay, you have to
I know.
sign in to your Apple ID. And I say, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I don't remember the password for this. Let me see. Is it happy? Okay. And it's going to say, nope, you're incorrect. I can try again, but if I think, you know, I really don't know it, then I can't get an app. Not even a free one on the iPad. So where do I go to recover that? Well, back to settings. And in that same place where in my iTunes and App Store, where my ID appears, if I tap on it, I get some options. One of which is I forgot. So you tap on I forgot. And then it's going to ask me questions based on my account information. So this is where if you haven't put any information into your account, then you're not going to be happy with the questions you get. First, you have to tell it what ID you're talking about. And that is got guessed. One at iCloud. Oops. .com. And now I have to, luckily, these numbers are fairly clear. Some of them are totally unrecognizable. But this one I can do 4S3U.
Now, is this case sensitive?
No. And I click continue. Now, if I don't even know my ID, I could have clicked there. All right. So it's saying, do you need to reset your password or just need to reset your security questions? Well, I don't know what my password is, so I need to reset my password. So it says, okay, what do you know that will prove that you are you? It says that it can get it, it can send me an email. Now, if I have access to my iCloud.com email, that'll do. Or I can answer security questions. I just want to show you what comes up if I say answer security questions and continue. Verify birthday. I have no idea what birthday I put down for this.
For this fake guest account.
Which is another reason why people put fake birthdays for some reason.
Yeah, they don't want it. Other folks, they think other folks are going to know what their birthday is. And hopefully, you know, hey, if somebody knows your birthday, maybe they'll send you a present.
All right, so I said cancel, and it's making me start all over again. So even if you do have things set up right, it's still a pain. And I'm going to have to type that in there again, the got guessed. And this can take, how many hours can this take, Jim?
It can take several hours. Chris had a woman over this past rally, and I don't know, how many hours were you there?
And it never did work.
And it never did work.
So that is, you know, the issue.
And I sat with somebody during this rally, and it took me at least an hour to go through this, and it was frustrating. And it's frustrating for the end user, and it's frustrating for us to try and help because we don't know the answers to the questions.
Okay, and it didn't like those numbers that I typed in that one time. So 9GA. Try this again. All right, need to reset my password.
And what question does it give you this time?
Answer security questions. No, it's still Juan's birthday. All right. Well, I do know what I entered in there. So, oh, you have to do it in 4 characters.
You have to do it exactly the way they want it, not what you think it should be.
Okay. So now we have, what is your favorite children's book? And I happen to know that I set that up as Green Eggs and Ham.
I recommend using something simple and memorable.
First Beach would be LBI.
Now, are these case sensitive?
Green Eggs and, oh, well, I don't know about case, but the word and needs to actually be AND.
So you have to start over.
And hopefully that's good. All right. So now I can enter a new password. Because I had security questions entered and I did know the answer, then you have to have 8 or more characters. So I am going to say happy and 2017. And happy, you have to type it again. That's the way it works.
Exactly the way you put it in
2017.
before. Now, this is absolutely case sensitive.
And reset password.
And say a prayer.
Is it still not liking it? I can't see the whole screen there.
What does it say there?
All right. I don't know. Yeah, I know. So once again, it's A-P-P-Y. Do I have to have a capital letter maybe?
Probably
All
a
right.
capital letter and
I'm gonna do
a
a
number.
capital letter A-P-P-Y 2017.
Now do it over exactly the way you did the first one.
There, it definitely likes that one better. And it's doing it. So that's a demonstration of a small annoyance. That was a mild annoyance.
That was
rather than total devastation, because I had security questions and I knew the answers. Now, where do you go? So that's what you need to do. If you haven't done that, I want you to go to your account, add a recovery phone number, a recovery email, and security questions. And I'm going to just show you that on the computer. So on a computer, you go to, for your Apple, you go to appleid.apple.com. And I can log in now because I know the username and password, right? Because I just reset it. Godguest1@iCloud. And password is happy 2017.
I hope you're going to change this right after this show.
Yes, that's why I didn't want to. Okay, and I still have to remember, you have to prove that you are who you say you are. And that was LBI. And this was Green Eggs and Ham. And that's just because it sees that there has been unusual activity on this. So it's asking, all right, now reachable at edit that. And here is where you can add more. So you make sure to add a phone number, add a different email address so that when you lose access to the main one, they can send you a reset code to a different email. And this is where you can add the rescue email. This is where the security questions go, etc., etc. So appleid.apple.com, visit it now.
If you're on an Apple.
If you're on an Apple.
How about if you're on an Android device?
If you're on an Android, that comes next. So now for my Android device, I'm using one of our tablets and pretending that this is a brand new tablet, and you cannot set it up unless you have an account, username, and password. So this is a brand new tablet, and it's asking for a username and password as soon as I tap next. Do you have a Google account? Yes. Now this one I'm saying this is for my mom, and her Google account is Marilyn's Planet at Gmail.
So she already has an email address, a Gmail account.
Right. And gmail.com. And I want to go. All right. I think there's an option here that I'm not seeing. There we go. When I turn it vertical, I now see where they want the password. And I say, oh, no, I'm not sure I know what the password is. But I will try. Try it now. And then there's just a little gray arrow down here that means next. And it is, of course, going to say, I don't know you. Because that is not the correct password. Couldn't sign in. Okay, since this is a brand new tablet, I can't go to my settings where there is a forgot password. So here I need to go to the web even to recover the password. So back to the computer. And you don't have to remember the exact website for recovering a Google account. Just Google for it. Recover Google account.
And you could ask that same question for an Apple account.
Sure. Yep, same idea. And we're at that same place. We do know the email, and there it is. Oh, and this is probably going to remember. No. So enter the last password you remember. Now, if you know absolutely nothing about your account, then you don't even know the last password. Notice this down here. Try a different question. So you can try a different question. And it says, okay, get a prompt on your device. Now that means that this account does have a cell phone that has been entered into the account. And if I had that, I could do that. Let's say I don't have that. Try a different question. Get a verification code by text message to this phone number, if you know what that phone number is. Let's say you don't. Try a different question. Answer the security question added to your account. What city was your daughter in? Let's say you don't know, you don't remember. Try a different question. So just from experience, I can tell you that if you have never visited your account and added some of these security questions, this is the only thing that Google knows how to ask you. When did you create this Google account? And if you don't know that, and you don't have an email address, a recovery email address, then you ain't getting into your account.
No way, no how.
No way, no how. So, in order that that never happens to you, you need to go to your Google account, myaccount.google.com. Now, this is logged in as me. So I'm going to go to an incognito window so it doesn't log in as me. My account. Sign in with the one that you're working with, your account. And I do know the password. Oh, well.
You think you know the password.
And that is usually the problem. You think you know the password. Okay, so in order to get into your account, you have to know the password. And then you go into this area called Sign In and Security. I highly recommend that you take the security checkup, see how your account is doing. But if you keep scrolling down, here is where you can enter a recovery email, a recovery phone, and a secret question. And once you have those in there, then when you forget your password, it will not be a major deal.
Wow. Excellent.
Yes. And we do recommend two-factor authentication too.
Right.
That's one of the options in sign-in security.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you establish a phone as part of your account.
Right. So even if someone were to get your username and password, they would also need to have physical access to your phone in order to actually get into your account. Very important. Let's go back to the slideshow there.
So did I do everything?
I don't know.
On the iPad, we showed how you can't get an app from the App Store if you've forgotten your password. And you recover using I forgot, and you go to your account settings to add all those in. Same thing on the Android.
Okay. Good deal. We do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com and search for Geeks on Tour. You'll find us there. More questions. Let me look over there and see what we got. I'm all okay. We have someone saying that they use a password manager, LastPass.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do, and a lot of people I respect say that LastPass is a good way to go. I just haven't done it.
Well, I think the reason that I know the reason that I don't use LastPass is we have so many different devices on different networks at different times. Most people don't have that issue. Most people have a computer and a phone and a tablet maybe, and they don't have as many accounts as we do. So I think that's probably the reason that it's too confusing and I have to keep everything in sync. And LastPass, the last time I tried to use it, was more trouble than it was worth. But for a lot of people, password managers are a good solution. You just have to remember one secure password, and that will allow you access to your other passwords. It makes a lot of sense for some people. For us, not so much.
The other thing that LastPass does will create passwords for new sites.
Right, very secure passwords that you could never remember.
But to me, it's just another app.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm holding on to my belief that I need to know my passwords, not depend on another app for it.
And saving screenshots of the security screens, input passwords to WordPad or something like that. Or when you write that down in a notebook, you can take a picture of that. And then you can get rid of the notebook because somebody would have to really find that picture. As long as you know where that picture is, you have a record of that account. Okay, is there any way to reset an Android device to new to clear all associated settings and start a new user?
It's called factory reset.
So absolutely, you can do that.
Yes, and we did do one of our classes, one of our weekly shows on that back a ways. Yeah, just factory reset. But realize that resets everything.
Yeah, all your apps need to be put back. The account recognizes the apps that you had and helps you put them back, but it's a process.
Now you can just delete the account or change the account, but that doesn't change the account for all the apps that you already have installed. So to me, the most important thing is setting your recovery options. Yes, you put a phone number in there. People say, well, I don't want Google calling me.
Google's not going
to call you.
They don't. And if you do get a call from Google, nah,
it's not from Google.
It's probably fraud.
Right. So that phone number is in there in order to get a reset code to prove who you are.
Right. Okay, like us on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Geeks On Tour. Our app of the week this week is NPR One. It is an app that I have on my phone, and when we're traveling down the road, I have my phone connected to my Bluetooth radio in the RV, and I can listen to news, weather, sports, things like that from my local radio station in Fort Lauderdale. So my NPR station down in Fort Lauderdale is WPLG, and I can listen to that. And it is really neat because this app will learn the things that you like. You can set things up like that. It's very personalized. What you're listening to is information from NPR, and you can just tailor it the way you want.
They're like podcasts.
Right. It is a podcast.
But they're all in one place here in this app.
Right. And they say it's a whole new way to listen to story shows and podcasts from NPR and your local public radio station. Public radio made personal. And it is a free app.
Now, this is using data, though, right?
It does use data.
Yeah, so listening to the radio on your phone uses data.
Right.
Unless you're on free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi at home. A lot of people use this at home. And instead of listening to commercial radio or having something else on the phone, on the stereo, you can have NPR One.
You can even fall asleep to it.
It has a setting for a sleep mode, right?
Sleep timer.
Sleep timer. I'm ready for a nap myself. Well, did you learn something? An Android device is associated with what account?
Google.
An iPhone, iPad is associated with what ID?
An Apple ID.
All right. Your username for most accounts is A, an account number, B, an email address, or C, your social security number.
Unfortunately, it's B. I mean, I think they should have an account number like banks do.
Yeah, that would be a little bit easier to remember because a lot of people, when they first set up their email account, they set up some weird handle instead of their name, and it just gets very confusing.
And years later, even though they have a new email address, their account username is still what they originally set up.
Right. So the time to review your account info is A, when you forget your password, B, when you know your password, or C, now.
Now is the answer. And hopefully you know your password now, but even if you don't, now is a better time to find that out.
Right.
than sometime in the future when you need your password
And
you
you're
don't know it.
stressing out. It's
Because
do it now.
the recovery process is stressful no matter how good you are. So do it now.
You should have a phone number
With a glass of wine.
You should have a phone number associated with your account. True or false?
True, true, true.
Okay. You should have a second email address associated with your account. True or false?
True. Because if you've lost your password, it's very likely that you lost the use of your email.
Right. Okay, Chris, what's the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is weekly. It now says weekly class. I changed
we
that.
need to change that, don't we?
Yeah.
And the web page that lists all of our recent newsletters.
geeksontour.com, the menu item is blogs and news.
And the benefits you get by joining Geeks on Tour.
You get access to our complete learning library of prepared tutorial videos. You get to ask questions in the member Q&A, and we will answer. You get the show notes for all of these shows. You get some discounts, and you get all our ebooks, including the new Mrs. Geek's Guide to Google Photos.
Great. So do become a member. Just go to geeksontour.com and click on the Become a Member and join today. Next time, we hope to have a live stream on April 16th, next Sunday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. We should be headed east.
Right.
So watch for the posting and the show notes on Wednesday at the Button Show. That's when we post this to our webpage. And if you have an idea for a new topic or a topic that we've even covered before, use a suggestion box at thebuttonshow.com. Well, that's it for another week. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next time at
What does this button do?
Bye-bye.